What's up, everyone? Shoe Booty Sports coming at you Tuesday night, episode 100 something and some change. I'm your host, Graham Powell. On this screen, that's Bradley Brown. On the other, looking very golf-tastic this evening. Say what's up, Brad.
How's it going?
Busy, good but busy. Um, I don't know if I mentioned it on the show, but I am a student again. Did I mention that last week? Okay. Well,
Not
yeah.
on the show.
Yeah, well, Graham is going back to school, and he got some grades back, and I got perfect scores. So, cha-ching. Pretty good after my 8 out of 10 quiz score. I was not too like that irked me a little bit. But either way, I bounced back. Um, but none of that matters as far right now because this is a sports show, and we're going to get to that. First, we're going to give a quick shout out to our sponsor. Shoe Booty Sports is presented by Rhino Races. Rhino Races is a virtual race series that offers 5 different races: a 5K, 10K, half marathon, a marathon, and the one of a kind Rhino Ultra. You can sign up for one or all 5 of their races at rhinoraces.com. Run your race at your convenience. Track it with your fitness app of choice. Screenshot your results as proof of completion. Submit that screenshot to rhinoraces.com under the submit results section. Once your results are verified by Rhino Races staff, your reward will be shipped to you by mail. Also, check out their gear section while you're there for t-shirts, wristbands, decals, and more. That's rhinoraces.com. Rhino Races is the premier virtual running series. And you can find us, Shoe Booty Sports, on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow us on X at Shoe Booty Sports. You were making a face while I was reeling that off. What was there? What was the reason for
Oh, you're looking up like
that?
you've seen something.
I
And
was
I was
looking
like,
at I was looking at a frame on my wall, and it was you see like when I close this door, either when I close the door, what like the neighbors very loud coming in and out, like doors loud being shut and open. I mean, they're like times 10 when it comes to just moving over there. And me, when I just open this door to this back bedroom, open it and close it, it shifts the picture on the wall just a little, tilts it a little bit, and it always bugs me. So I always look up, I'm like, is it crooked now? But I'm getting to where I just don't even care, and I'm just not going to bother with it. Um, that's not true. I'll continue to put it back into place,
yeah.
but it's what it is. It's what you deal with when you got one of the many things you deal with when you got OCD. It's a strength and weakness there. I thought that might have been what you were grinning about, but just
It's
wanted it for the record.
it's like you
Okay.
had a thought bubble up there you're reading off of. So
Well, yeah, just something else was going on in this part of the brain while I was giving some love to our show sponsor. Again, rhinoraces.com, the premier virtual running series. All right, let's talk some sports. National championship game was last night. It went about like I expected it would. Notre Dame. Now it got
you got it,
interesting,
yeah.
not very interesting because I just kept they're not going to do this. They're not going to pull this off, and so I just kept waiting for the balloon to pop, and sure enough, it did. On that bomb pass play to that freshman standout wide receiver for Ohio State, number 4. I can't remember his name, but absolute stud at wide receiver. Uh, First drive of the game, Notre Dame goes on like a 1,200 play drive.
It was
Uh,
like an 18 play.
yeah.
If I seen the stat right, yeah, 18 play drive.
What's the quarterback's last name? It's Riley something, isn't it? All right.
I can stat check for you there.
That'd probably be a good idea.
Yeah.
Notre Dame's quarterback,
Leonard.
Leonard.
Riley Leonard.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was wanting to say like Lawrence. I was like, that's not right. All right. Riley Leonard had 9 carries, I believe, on the opening drive. And that's what they need. He would have had to have done that pretty much the whole game for Notre Dame to be successful, and he just couldn't sustain that. I mean, how could you? He was on the side as soon as he went to the sideline after Notre Dame scored and kicked the extra point, and was wobbly or threw up and was wobbly. I don't know if you heard that report.
I did not know.
Yeah, threw up and was wobbly. That's why they were making a big deal out of him getting a break. before having to come out for the next series. But yes, it was. It would have taken that for Notre Dame to be successful, even though they almost kind of sort of were without having
Yeah.
to do that necessarily. They didn't get it figured out until 3.5 quarters, and by then it was too late. It, it
Yeah.
was it was very one sided until then. Ohio State responded with 31 unanswered points, and the game just wasn't interesting anymore at that point. If you're not an Ohio State fan,
Yeah.
and I was pulling for Notre Dame, but I just wanted to see a good game. Like just keep me interested. I was not interested until okay, even when Notre Dame got the touchdown 2-point conversion and made it 31-15, I still wasn't really interested. I just
No.
thought, okay, they made something happen. Now when they
And the
scored,
3-and-out is whenever I got interested after they scored that time and then had a 3-and-out with Ohio State. And then I was like, oh, maybe. And then they went down there and scored, and then I was really interested. So,
yeah, see they go down and score, and then they fooled me on the 2-point conversion. I was like, oh, that's not going to work. Oh, wait a minute,
wow.
he's throwing it, and sure enough, to a wide open guy in the back of the end zone for the successful 2-point try. And all of a sudden, it's an 8-point game. But even then, I'm still like, there's no way. There's no way they're going to come back and actually win this. I was hoping it would happen because it would have been the greatest comeback in sports history with the stage and everything. The way the game was going, it to just completely flip 3.5 quarters in. It would have been the worst collapse maybe in sports history and the greatest comeback in sports history, as far as I'm concerned. Your thoughts on that?
I'm sorry. I was getting error messages from my computer. I was
All right,
getting
so you weren't
distracted.
listening to a thing I said, basically.
Not the last 10 seconds, no.
Okay. I was saying basically it was the greatest comeback or it would have been the greatest comeback in sports
Oh,
history if Notre
hands down. Hands down. It'd been right up there with freaking New England's 28-3 comeback. I mean, yeah, it would have been up there. I don't know if it would have been as impressive as that, but yeah, it would have been up there. Um, but
yeah,
yeah, that the last play where pretty much, Ohio State broke their back, crushed their dreams. That long completion on third and 11, and Notre Dame sends pretty much blitzes everybody. Um, Before the camera even panned out, you knew the guy was wide open. As soon as the guy reared back and chunked it, you're like, oh, this guy's has to be wide open. Then the camera zoomed out. Of course, nobody's within 6, 7 yards of the guy. So, yeah, they had our hopes up, but
they
came
did.
oh so close.
It
But yeah, they
looked
did
like
better than I thought they would, man. Honestly. Um, but it took Ohio State pulling their foot off the gas a little bit and Notre Dame doing what they do every game is never given up. So the combination of those two things got Notre Dame back in it.
yeah, I guess so. You say it was closer than you thought. I mean, it wasn't close at all after
Well,
2.5 quarters.
yeah, whenever they tacked on the points at the end, I mean, they covered the spread that the score ended up being about what I predicted, right? Didn't I say like 35 or 34-21?
Uh, Something along those lines. It was close. I don't even
So I
remember
guess
what.
it went as expected. I just didn't, I don't know, didn't expect it to go that route, I guess, because it wasn't a consistent, uh, watchable game.
No, it did get interesting. So I will say that. But not the most exciting national championship game I've ever seen. They did show clips. I of course immediately saw the last 2.5 minutes or 5 minutes or whatever they were showing of the 2005 or six Rose Bowl. Of course, Vince Young and Texas beating USC, who was going for their third consecutive national championship. That's the best individual performance I've ever seen in in a championship game was Vince Young that day. He was unstoppable. Could not be stopped. And the bigger the moment, the bigger he got. That was the best performance I've ever seen in any sport in a championship game. Single game performance. It was it was Jordan esque as far as that goes. But yeah, it was the national championship. It went like I thought it would. Ohio State. You could tell after both opening drives, Ohio State was the better team. Notre Dame had to really, really, really work for that touchdown. Ohio State did it in what felt like no time compared to what Notre Dame's opening drive was to Ohio State's. It just was night and day. Ohio State just made it look easy. But the better team won. Good for Ryan Day and Ohio State. Ryan Day probably. I mean, it's maybe the best job right now in college football, but it's the toughest as far as pressure goes. I mean, that they know that you are built to win and you have to deliver. If you do not deliver, it's bad for you. And losing to Michigan again, he of course has a losing record against Michigan. I don't know what it is. I know he's lost like 4 games against Michigan. And it's not good if you're the Ohio State coach, especially when the guy before you went undefeated against Michigan. So you're expected to win that game. But
Has he beat Michigan? How long
I
has
don't know
Dave
that he
been head coach?
has. I don't know that he has. Now that I think about it, because he's had 4 losses,
It's
I believe.
yeah. So he's had a full class that's never beat Michigan.
No, yes, yeah, that was something they said. Ohio State seniors that have been, none of them have ever beaten Michigan. Wild to think about. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, this gets a lot of the
Well,
pressure off
Arkansas
of Ryan
players can
Day.
say that about quite a few teams. So
Yeah, but that's Arkansas. Arkansas is not built to win, to win championships. Not in football or really any sport but track and field right now, especially not basketball.
yeah.
We'll touch up on that in a
No.
um, yeah, that's we'll talk a little bit about that before moving on. But yeah, good for Ryan Day, I guess. And Notre Dame, what do you think about Marcus Freeman and Notre Dame moving forward? Is Notre Dame here to stay, or to me, I see it as this is Notre Dame. Like you're probably going to win 10 games,
It's
9, 10
there's going to
games.
keep on being Notre Dame. Yeah. This cements their position for the next 10 years of being overrated. Is because hey, y'all remember we made the finals in the college football playoff back in 2024 season. Like y'all remember that, right? So we're still good. Like y'all gonna let us by with an iffy schedule and maybe 1, 2 losses. Okay, cool. That's
Yeah,
what they're
but
going to continue to do.
yes, but Notre Dame did deliver in the playoff. Like they had to.
I think they will be.
You're cutting out, or I'm
I
cutting
don't
out.
know. I think they'll actually deliver like 5% of the. Oh, I think they're going to deliver 25% of the time. So maybe 1 out of 4 years they won't be overrated. Versus every year out of 4 years they'll be overrated.
Okay. All right, so it's a lot of love for Notre Dame from Brad over there. But I think you're right in that it is. I mean, this is Notre Dame. They're going to continue to be Notre Dame. They haven't won a championship since 1988, a national championship, that is. So
What else is it going to be? It's can't be a conference championship.
that's true. As I said that, I was like, well, yeah, that's not going to be a conference championship either. Not in football, anyway. But yeah, I think we'll just continue to see more of the same from Notre Dame, especially with it being a 12-team playoff now. Notre Dame's going to keep getting in. Uh, I'm not
Yeah.
saying it's going
They're
to
going to be
be.
like you might as well just start printing off the bracket every year with Notre Dame permanently in at the 5 seed. So that's how it's going to be.
or the 7, or because they were the 7 seed
They're
this year.
going to be they're going to be in that first round.
Yeah, or I mean, they could end up with a bye. Boise State can end up with a bye. Notre Dame certainly can. Notre Dame would have. Well, I don't know because as a conference champion, I guess you get more
Yeah.
love. But then again, Boise State being a conference champion of whatever they're in right now, I don't even know what conference that is. But they received a bye. Notre Dame being Notre Dame, they're going to make an exception for them, I would think. But it's like you said, just pretty much pencil in Notre Dame in the college football playoff. I'm not gonna say more years than well, maybe more years than not. I don't know. We'll see. But it's kind of interesting that Brian Kelly, made the comment or has basically said, "I have a better chance at winning a national championship at LSU than I do Notre Dame." I don't know that you do in this format because Notre Dame, you're going to have a shot every year. You're going to be in the
Yeah.
playoff.
Yeah. Your
LSU,
ticket's punched. You just pretty much have to hold on to it till the end of the season if you're Notre Dame.
yeah, LSU is. I mean, you got to go through the SEC gauntlet every year, and I mean they didn't sniff the playoff this year. I mean they had a good season, but yeah, I mean you got to go through that. I mean, Ole Miss was probably or would have made more noise than SMU. Um, LSU probably would have
Yeah.
too, but SMU and Indiana, they were the more deserving teams, I guess you could say. And yeah, I think Ole Miss was better than those teams,
I think
but
they were.
it's what I mean, it's what it
Yeah.
is. So it's kind of
Don't
funny
lose
that
to
that
Kentucky.
is
Like,
it's kind of funny that that's flip flopped. Basically, you went from I got a better shot at winning a national championship at LSU to do you though? Notre Dame's going to have a shot pretty much annually. It's like just get in. You just get in, and then you got a shot. You got to be in it to win it, as they say. And and what was LSU doing? They were watching from home. Made a bowl game, but didn't make the college football playoff. All right, let's talk a little NFL playoff
mm,
football before we rip our Razorbacks.
man,
Um,
what a weekend for NFL football.
yeah. How about Washington? By the way, uh,
Dude,
how is your
I still
connection?
woke up in disbelief this morning. Like, that actually happened. Like, I think it's pretty good.
Okay, you're freezing up a lot on my.
It's showing good.
Okay. Maybe it's my connection. I don't know, but I'm getting a lot of technical difficulty stuff. So if it's affecting the audio, my or our apologies, you all. But we're I don't know. We're giving you our best here. Internet issues and all. But yes, well, okay. I've said many times on this show, Washington is going to be the franchise to watch over the next several years, and they are ahead of schedule. They're ahead of schedule.
Way
Jaden
out.
Daniels is even better than I thought he would be, at least this early. And yeah, just Washington is just ahead of schedule. They've got a legitimate shot to beat Philly Sunday. They've
Yeah, they do.
yeah, Washington and Philly 1-1 against each other in the regular season. They will be in Philly, so it's going to be yeah advantage Eagles there. But I mean, Washington is built for this. Jaden Daniels is a different player. Um, I give Washington a real shot. People would look back. I don't
Yeah.
know what Vegas is saying, but I imagine Philly would be favored in this. I don't know about heavily favored, but certainly favored. Um, but yeah, that was the
I
surprise
hope
over
we
the
get a
weekend.
snow game. That'd be awesome.
Well, we probably will, one place or
Yeah.
another. I don't know that Kansas City is going to get any snow this year, but that's going to be the other big one. Kansas City and Buffalo, the matchup we want in the AFC. That's the matchup we want to see. Mahomes and Josh Allen again for with the Super Bowl. Um, trip on the line. Let's go. Let's go Washington. Okay,
Eagles are a six. I was going to say Eagles are a 6.5 point favorite right now.
that sounds about right. You did pick the Rams to beat Philly, and it looked like for a minute there that it could have possibly happened. It ended up being a really good game in not so great conditions, but Philly got it done. We both obviously whiffed on the Washington pick, but
Yes.
yeah, it was.
Yeah, I changed my pick to the Rams to be different, but yeah, because I originally picked the Eagles just because of Barkley. So, which obviously is why you do it, but yeah. So yeah, I missed two, you missed one. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, Barkley was Barkley, and I had. I mean, That's why you bring him there to do that. Let's make a pick for that one. NFC Championship game, Washington Philly. Washington doesn't like the magic runs out here, right? I mean, if we're gonna be, I like Washington, but they're ahead of schedule. Like Philly
You
is
would
established. You
you
went and
would
got
think so.
Barkley. You've got that offensive line. I don't know how banged up Jalen Hurts is. Uh, I give Washington a shot, but surely the luck runs out here, right?
I'm gonna say no, man. I think Washington just doesn't know any better. They're just gonna go out there and win. Like they don't know that they should be, cautious or worried or anything else. They're just gonna go out there and play ball. And if they play like they did last weekend, I think that they beat the Eagles. Like if Scary Terry gets loose and Daniels is running around slinging it and Ertz is out there catching everything, yeah, I, I think they can take it.
Here's the thing, too, though. You're playing outdoors. You're not playing in a dome. So you're not playing in that dome in Detroit. You're playing outside in Philly. So I don't know that you're not going to be able to put up 51 um, on that Philadelphia Eagles defense in those conditions. Jaden Daniels will be Jaden Daniels. He's going to make plays, right? You're not going to catch Philly by surprise with that. But you've had success against them before. Philly's had success against them.
This would kind of fit into Philly's. This would kind of fit into Philly's mo, though, to have a good season and screw it up in the screwing up in the division championship. Again,
Conference championship, buddy. Um,
or
so even
conference championship.
yeah, he has something even bigger on the line. Uh, that's the thing, though. It's like you said, Washington has no pressure. There's no pressure on them. Nobody's expecting
Oh,
them to actually go win this. Jaden Daniels, you're supposed to have been like the contender the last few years. This being year three of you being really the a contender. I thought Phillies was the best team in the league all year. If it were Detroit and Philly playing this weekend, I would have picked Philly. Just because I just think they are. I just never believed in Detroit. I was like, they're a really good team. They're going to put up. They're going to get rack up some wins in the regular season, but going up against like a Philadelphia, they're not going to be able to overtake them or a Chiefs in the Super Bowl or Bills. I just never bought Detroit as a serious Super Bowl contender. If anybody from the NFC can dethrone Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, or even match up with the Bills, I think it's Philadelphia. I think that would be the more competitive matchup. I just, yeah, I like Washington. I don't. I can't buy in yet. Even though I'm as big on Washington as anybody. Um, I just think it's too early. It's too early in the process. We'll see in a couple of years. In a couple of years, the script could be
Yeah.
completely flipped, and I think it will be actually. But right now in 2025, I'm going to go Philly.
Here's a crazy thought. If if Chiefs win this weekend and somehow Washington wins this weekend and they face each other in the Super Bowl, what if Daniels is the one to dethrone Mahomes as a rookie in the Super Bowl. How big of a story would that be?
That would be Magic Johnson playing center in Game 7 of the NBA Finals, like big. That would be monstrous. Yeah, and really being the sole purpose of your turnaround, at least from a player standpoint. Of course, ownership. I mean, you've upgraded everywhere. Ownership
Yeah.
significantly. Head coach, quarterback. You've just completely you've been able to flip the franchise faster than you ever could otherwise under different normal circumstances. But this ownership group for Washington is the reason I said Washington is the franchise to watch over the next several years. It's the same ownership group that owns the Dodgers. Look at what's happened to the Dodgers. I mean, they're the perennial power now, and not just the National League and Major League Baseball. I expect they didn't that ownership group did, which includes Magic Johnson, did not. Speaking of, didn't purchase Washington and then make one getting a new stadium built, and two just going ahead. Let's just upgrade the one we have till we got that one ready. Put millions upon millions into just the one we have, just to make it appealing before we get this new state of the art one built. I mean, they're not spending money to spend money. They want to win. So
Yeah.
I'm as big on Washington as anyone, but maybe bigger on them than anyone has or is. I just don't think it's going to happen yet against a Philadelphia Eagles team that's built to be a contender and has been for the last 3 years. Oh, and you add Saquon Barkley. Yeah, I think it's just too early in the process. Yeah, it'd be crazy if Washington goes, and it wouldn't be crazy. It's not unfathomable that Washington goes and wins this game.
It'd
I
be
just
highly unexpected though, because you would think, with as good as Philly is running the ball, that they'd be able to control the clock, control the flow of the game. You'd think it'd just work into their favor. Um, yeah, I don't know. I could see Washington win it, and I want them to win it, so I'm going to stick on Washington.
so your
Although for
pick.
a Super Bowl, it would be a better matchup. It would be a better matchup if the Eagles faced off versus the Bills or the Chiefs.
Yeah, that would be a more intriguing matchup to me. Well, I don't know about
Yes,
intriguing, but I would say more competitive. Um,
yes.
yeah, I just so you're on record. You got Washington.
Yeah.
All right, okay. Brad thinking with his heart over there, more so than his head, I think. But I mean, then again, it's not unfathomable
It,
to think.
it got me that Notre Dame win a couple of weeks ago, so
That's true. Um, yes, I'm going with Philly.
that's the only
Uh,
time it's worked.
yeah, I'm going Philly in 2025 and 2027. I would go Washington because they're going to be back, assuming Jaden Daniel stays healthy and everything else. Because I hope that happens. I really want to see what this team is going to do over the next 5 years. It's going to be something special. All right, now the big one, the AFC champ. I mean, they're both big, but the AFC championship game is the matchup we wanted to see all year. Josh Allen,
Huge.
Patrick Mahomes,
Yeah.
Super Bowl trip on the line. Josh Allen has never played better. Likely going to be the MVP.
Nope.
Edged out a win over the Ravens. What do you think of the Mark Andrews drop? By the way, which working at a big hospital like I do, and there are a lot of sports fans. I work. There are a lot of people that watch sports, but I hear some of the most wild takes and opinions just from people all over the place regarding the game and all that and what they think of players. It just gets wild and just downright dumb a lot of times and laughable, but it's at least interesting.
I'm sure.
Yes. But what about Mark Andrews' drop? Um, what were your what I watched it live, and just had
I
probably
watched it live too.
It was like, oh no. Yeah, that's a tough break for Baltimore.
It's like they got it. Oh, what happened? Yeah. What they say? 99 times out of 100, hell, probably 999 times out of 1,000. He's making that catch. That just happens to be the one time he doesn't make the catch. And it's freezing temperatures. Like there's all kinds of stuff he can blame it on, but he's falling backwards. It's a tough catch. Not so much for him. I mean, or for really anybody. I mean, if you're an NFL professional receiver, I mean, you should have great hands unless your last name is Tony. But yeah, you you shouldn't have a problem
Why
catching those. Well, yes. Um, it was just a bad break. Uh, I don't. Lamar can be a little upset, but he can't really. I mean, it's not like he didn't make a mistake. I mean, hell, he coughed up a fumble. He can't really say anything.
had a pretty bad interception too, right?
Yeah.
Um,
So
Lamar was a good teammate about it and all that. It wasn't a tough catch. It's tough and it's tougher in those conditions.
tougher
But
in those conditions.
yeah,
But Kamir, you make that catch? Probably.
tight end Graham Powell would have made that catch.
Dude, Bradley Brown would have made that catch. I got some good hands.
Yeah, there you go. Well, um, but yeah, the conditions had a lot to do with it. But I mean, he dropped it. It happens. Bill Buckner let a ball go through his legs with a World Series on the line. Mistakes happen. It's I mean, yeah, they just happen. That one just happened to be at a very inopportune moment for him and the Ravens.
Yeah.
That would have tied the game, but it didn't, and the Bills are moving on. I mean, that wouldn't have won the game. It just would have tied
No.
it. It would have it would have probably forced overtime. But Bills got it done, and they're moving on. And yeah, we got frankly, we got the matchup I wanted to see: Chiefs Bills.
Yes. Yeah.
So, who you got Sunday? Uh, Chiefs or Bills?
Man. All right. So Vegas has the Chiefs, of course, as a favorite by 1.5. And the Bills took down the Chiefs earlier in the year. Pretty much, it was the Chiefs' only legitimate loss of the season. Um, and they beat them at home in Buffalo. This one will be at Kansas City. Um, and I hate to say it, we've seen this. We've seen this before. We've seen it. Yeah, more than once before. Is it going to be a repeat? Probably. I really don't want it to be, but the Chiefs are probably going to take them down, and it's probably going to be like a 2-point game. I think Vegas has this right on the head. It's going to be a ridiculous close game, and Chiefs are going to pull it out with some help from the refs. I, I think that's just how it's going to happen. It's how it's always happened at home for the Chiefs.
Okay.
I want this. I want this to be the year for the Bills. I want it to be so bad. I just,
All right.
I just
Here's
don't
the
see it
thing.
happening.
I can't
You
wait
got
to
to beat
say
them
this
two
to
times
you.
in the same season.
Spit it out, Bradley, because I want to say this line. All right. You
There you go.
finish your argument. Okay. You good? All right. It's not going to be a repeat. It's going to be a three-peat. All right. Kansas City. I've been sitting on that for like the whole time you've been just going on and on. I've been just waiting, like, all right, hurry up and be done so I can say this line. But
Hey, I had
anyway,
to set it up. Dang it.
well, you did, and then I was ready to dunk it, and
Yeah,
then you just kept going. Um,
yeah. I'll just
but
sit there and
yes,
dribble. So
I've got. There are four things certain in this world, as far as I'm concerned: death, taxes. Floyd Mayweather wins boxing matches, and Patrick Mahomes wins playoff games. He's 16-3 in the playoffs. I'm not betting against Patrick Mahomes in any playoff game. I
yeah,
really like the Bills. I would love to see the Bills win this because I would love to see Buffalo get a Super Bowl and Josh Allen in
yeah.
particular. But imagine that those fans with a Super Bowl championship. That would be a lot of fun.
It'd be
Uh,
crazy.
the parade.
Yeah.
I mean, there are going to be all kinds of clips from the parade. So many tables are
So
getting
many broken tables.
yes. Um, WWE TLC's got would have nothing on Bills Mafia. It would be
Huh?
quite the show. I would love to see it for the Bills, but I don't think it happens. I'm not picking against Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid together in the playoffs. Just not going to do it. I got Chiefs. Sounds like you do too. Okay, let's we said
Bundle
let's
Rooski time, man.
yes, okay, bundle Ruski. There you go. I'm not even going to attempt it because yeah, it's I'll let Andy Reid do that. All right, let's end on this. Okay, Arkansas
Bundle
basketball.
Rooski.
There you go. Okay, you gave it a shot. You tried it. Bundaluski, since we're all doing it. All right, Arkansas Razorback basketball. 11-7 overall,
Garbage.
winless in SEC play. 0-5. Got curb stomped by
Yeah.
Missouri. A lot of really talented SEC teams. Arkansas is not one of them.
By LSU, dude. By winless LSU team too. Or not, I wouldn't say winless, winless in conference games.
I think they have
Uh,
two. I
we
think they have
haven't.
two wins.
That was well. Now they do, but whenever we played against them, they had none.
You're
And
correct.
that was the only one that's been kind of close. All the other ones have been, pretty much us turning around, them handing us our own asses. Like it has not been good. Um, but we knew we were. I mean, we were expecting a down season. I wasn't expecting any. I mean, I was expecting a bad season. I wasn't expecting to be over in conference play.
Not at 5 games then. We're going to have to
Yeah.
wrap it up pretty quick, but let's say this. Let's just say, how much of this do you put on Cal, and when do you hit the panic button? Do you do it at all this season, or does Cal get a pass no matter how this season
He gets a
ends?
pass this season, no matter how it goes. He gets a pass.
I agree because you look at the recruiting class he's going to have coming in and bring in. He had to replace the entire team except for a walk on and Trevin
Yeah.
Brazil. And even then, he had to convince Brazil to come back. So as
Yeah.
far as I'm concerned, I'm still
But
high
people have
on
forgotten that
Cal.
though.
Oh yeah, short memory spans, especially for Arkansas Razorback fans. Love the Hogs, but not the great, not the. I'll just stop talking there. Yeah, you're gonna have
Go
that.
Hawks.
Yeah, you're gonna have that from some Razorback
Every
fans.
every fan base has them. So
But Cal gets a pass this year. But yeah, just stay calm, stick with him, and we'll see what happens in a year or two. Until then, we're gonna get out of here. I'm Grandpa.
Brother Brown.
Deuces, y'all. See y'all next time. Conference championship game picks next week. We're out.
Peace.